New York-based actress Isa Fatima has created a show called Dirty Pakistani Lingerie. It was inspired by her own battles against stereotypes as she has tried to find acting jobs. Isa Fatima joins me in the studio to tell us more. Hello.
Hi, Robin.
Now, let's first address the title of this play. Dirty Pakistani Lingerie is not what you call it.
No, I call it Dirty Paki Lingerie, which is, that's the title of the show.
And why, here, I grew up in Toronto, and that, to me, was a bad word to say. But when you grew up, it wasn't?
No, not at all. I grew up in the great state of Mississippi, and I was probably one of the few Pakistanis there. And no, it was definitely not a bad word growing up. I know it is in Europe. It is considered a dirty word, but for us and my friends' family, we use it as a slang word, and there's no bad connotation.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about your situation, because that's what really the play is about. You didn't start out as an actress, though. What happened before you actually became an actress?
Yeah. Well, I kind of started off as an actress in terms of where I was always involved in theater, at a very young age, and I was in high school and college. But then I decided to do the practical thing as the child of immigrant parents, who wanted me to go to school and study hard. So I majored in microbiology, and then I went to grad school for information systems. And then I found my calling, and I went back to acting.
Once you found that calling, though, and you try to pursue it, you face some typecasting.
Absolutely. I think it's been interesting in the past few years. Maybe 10 years ago or so, there weren't that many roles at all for South Asians or Middle Eastern people, and now there are. But there are usually, terrorist 1, terrorist 2, and the wives and girlfriends of terrorists.
Those are the kinds of roles you were trying out for, or that were being offered to you.
Sometimes, yeah.
Is it frustrating?
Well, yeah, it's interesting because, I feel like nobody ever really captures what this American Muslim population is all about.
Now, we're used to people sometimes airing the dirty laundry from their communities. Sometimes it's made for humor, both by stand-up comics, by playwrights. What is the story behind Dirty Pakistani Lingerie?
Sure. Well, it's just it's stories of these women. It's not my story. I wanted to tell these stories and give these women a voice that I feel like was really lacking in the arts. And nobody ever tells stories that are kind of interesting from this Muslim American perspective. And I wanted to break down that stereotype because what you always see being portrayed is, Muslim women being oppressed or just in bad situations. I kind of wanted to break down that stereotype.
And how do you do that? Tell me about these women and the connection to the lingerie, because people are wondering, what?
Sure. Well, dirty Paki underwear was taken, so I had to go with lingerie. But, again, it's kind of like these stories are sort of very intimate details of these women's lives. And I think culturally, the Pakistani culture, or at least when I was growing up, all these, my mom's friends and, older aunties, it is kind of conservative, and you don't talk about a lot of your personal life details. And it's a little bit maybe frowned upon, but I think that is what kind of connects us, and makes these characters that I have very relatable and universal. I've had a really interesting response in New York performing this show because the characters are very specific, Muslim American female characters, and I've had Jewish men come up to me and tell me how much they could relate to those characters, and a Japanese couple, a woman from the Bronx, who said she could relate to one of the characters, reminds her so much of her mom, who was not American. She was not Muslim. She was an African American lady from the Bronx. So,
and in what way do you think you're challenging some of the stereotypes?
I think by just kind of showing that these are women who, there's a character in the play, a woman who covers her hair and she wears the hijab, and she talks about that as being her liberation from ogling men, and I think there is this, I know a lot of people, women who cover their hair, in the U.S. at least, who grew up there, it's kind of to assert their identity. This is who they are. And and I wanted to show people that. And this woman in the play is also talking about, her sexuality, and she wants to wear the sexy lingerie for her wedding night. And so those are the types of things that the play kind of addresses. It talks about identity, sexuality, but again, these are just very universal characters that anybody can really relate to.
Well, it's a very provocative title, and it sounds like, a very interesting story behind the provocative title. So congratulations on that, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
That's Aiza Fatima, the creator of the one-woman show Dirty Pakistani Lingerie. Show's part of Masala Mendi Masti, the festival taking place at Harbourfront Centre this weekend. And if you'd like more information about the festival, you can look it up on our community page at cbc.ca/Toronto. There's a link there marked community, and you can find out all about the Masala Mendi Masti Festival.